all know, society has improved in countless ways when it comes to education. For instance, 500 years ago, the concept of school and education was mostly a fantasy for humanity. This all changed in the 1800s, when Horace Mann established a public school system in the US that permitted everyone, not regarding their social status, to become educated. Schools from all over the world started to open after that. All throughout the 20th century, it's when women were finally allowed to have a good education, and physical punishments in schools were prohibited. Even though progress has been made in the education field in the last centuries, we still have a long way to go in the present day. How does it feel to be a student today? If you're a student, then you won't have a hard time answering this question. If you aren't, and you are curious about the answer, I will gladly tell you, as a high school student, how being trapped inside a traditional school system feels like. It either feels A, good, because you have the type of intelligence that a school system values, therefore you are seen as smart. B, bad, because you don't have the abilities that the education system values, therefore you are seen as thoughtless and irresponsible. C, frustrated, because you don't have an easy time catching up with society's expectations, but you are still running, trying to win a race that seems out of your reach. Therefore, you are seen as insufficient and ordinary. D, pressured, because you have set a standard for yourself that needs to be achieved at all cost. Therefore, when you are not able to meet this standard, you are seen as incapable. I'm not saying that all students have to fit into these categories. Some students may feel a mix of these, as well as others may relate to none of them. But in general terms, I can assure you, this is a very brief summary of how it feels to be a student today. According to Howard Gardner, a recognized American neuropsychologist that graduated from Harvard, there are 8 types of intelligences. This theory of multiple intelligence claims that there is no such thing as unintelligent people. They are just individuals whose environment doesn't allow them to develop the abilities they are born with, and, consequently, they may end up never discovering the treasures that are hidden within themselves. It is of great importance to know the various types of intelligences that exist, because that way we can take advantage of the talents that are handed to us the minute that we are born, instead of simply letting them go to waste. The different types of intelligences are the following. The logical mathematical intelligence, which relates to the ability to solve problems in a non-verbal manner. The linguistic intelligence, which relates to the correct use of vocabulary, as well as reading and writing skills. The visual spatial intelligence, which refers to the abilities of creating any kind of graphic art. The bodily kinesthetic intelligence, which is the ability to use the body to express emotion or to achieve physical activities. The musical intelligence, which relates to the ability of creating music. The naturalist intelligence, which refers to the comprehension of nature and its conservation. The interpersonal intelligence, which explains our ability to work together as a team and communicate with each other. And the intrapersonal intelligence, which refers to the ability to recognize our own emotions and to be self-aware. Now, if there are 8 types of different intelligences, why does our school system only recognizes a few of them? Why does it make the assumption, as Gardner would like to say, that everyone can learn at the same rate with the same methods? Why is it that traditional school systems embrace diversity but are the first ones to judge and condemn students who don't have the specific type of intelligence that we are taught to develop because of their alleged essentiality? Why is it that we students are told that we are all good at something, while at the same time we are all being evaluated and labeled with numbers based on how good we fit the standards of our very much broken school system? Why is it that we are taught to be peaceful and empathetic with our neighbors, but are also encouraged to be competitive and to try to always be better than everyone, to always go higher than everyone, to always be a step further than everyone? Why is that? And then there's grades. Numbers a school system uses to classify students. We are not our grades. Our potential is not measured by our grades. We shouldn't be treated as numbers. We shouldn't be treated as numbers. We should be treated for what we are. Individuals with different needs, with different skills, with different abilities. You know what is sad? It is sad to see how education systems that are supposed to motivate the youth to develop their talents and skills are the cause of millions. Millions of unmotivated students that are told every day that if they keep being misfits of the system, then they are simply not going to succeed. You know what is sad? It is sad to look at the news and discover that 1 out of 3 high school students has developed some kind of mental disorder that in a lot of cases is caused by the unrealistic expectations that society poses in scholars from a very young age. It breaks my heart to see how thousands of talented artists, musicians, oral speakers, and dancers are told every day that they are simply not enough. It is not fair. It is not fair. The traditional school system normally centers in 2 types of intelligence: logical mathematical intelligence and linguistic intelligence. That is 1/4 of the total number of official intelligences there are. Other intelligences are presented as electives or extracurriculars, but are not entirely involved in the programs. Luckily, there is a little light in every darkness. School systems in several countries are already changing in order to motivate students with all kinds of intelligences. Various public schools in Australia are implementing programs that allow students to use and develop all of their intelligences in order to find what they are truly good at. Schools in Norway, in Germany, in Sweden, in Canada, and in the Netherlands are already getting ready to launch projects related to the normalization of school systems that take into account the individual needs of every single student attending an educational establishment. They are developing school systems that respect intelligence diversity. We need those kinds of programs all over the world. We must make amendments in the traditional school system to build one that embraces all of our talents and abilities. Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." We all have heard one of these kinds of phrases that criticize the idea of disregarding people simply because they don't have enough of the type of intelligence that society finds valuable. Unfortunately, conventional school systems still sanction creative minds with different perspectives. There is no quick fix able to solve this kind of issue. Trying to build and promote simple solutions for complicated programs such as this one is almost like trying to carry an elephant with your own bare hands. Change takes time. It is not going to be easy for society to let go of the system that has been functioning for so many years. It is not going to be easy, but it is not impossible. We can change the way society views intelligence. We can change the way schools evaluate students. We can change the school system so that the curriculum adjusts to the different types of mentalities and neurocapacities of each individual. We can make education a better place for our future generations.